very exciting topic of why are relationships so darn hard? That was the topic title of my newsletter this week, and moving into discussing it on a larger framework today. Feel free to write comments to let me know you're here. And if you have any questions along the way, I love to see your questions and then that I might interact live with you right now. So, without any further um, delay, let's dive into this topic. And the first thing I'd like to say about this topic, I'm looking at this relationship issue from a modern day perspective. Because what I've noticed from speaking to people who are my age and their parents, the Gen X generation, right, is like our parents didn't really ask these types of questions. And I think it's because they were so busy focusing on the relationship aspect. And also it was much more popular and necessary many years ago to have larger families. I mean, maybe that not that long ago, like certainly I come from a large family. It was also part of culture and of religious beliefs. So for some people, they felt that having a bigger family was the way to go. And it was also related to particularly certain religious beliefs, certain religious categories. I know that Catholics were very big on having very large families, right? To I think it was a sign of prosperity. It was also in mode, right? A la mode. That's what was working in those days. Those were the norms in those days. Well, not today, right? That has changed a whole lot. So I want to dive into this topic of this modern love, this relationship to modern love and relationships. Why have they become so difficult? And the reason I'm asking the question is because that's the question I'm receiving with my clients, with my patients who are talking about their relationships, and most of which who are married or are in relationships will have maybe one child, maybe two children, right? It's not that common any longer to have so many children. So I wanted to dive into this a little bit based on what's occurring in our own culture in the United States, in Northern America, and probably in many other parts of the world can relate to this topic. Hey, good morning. Sabi is here. Hi, Sabi from Montreuil, France is in the house. If anybody else is here, wants to say hi, please do so in the comments below. And so here we go. We're going to explore this topic. And last week in my newsletter, I was using Esther Perel's research as a guideline. You may have heard of her. If you haven't, please Google her. She's an expert in relationships, Esther Perel. And so I used her research as a guideline to talk about modern relationships and why are they so darn hard. And I asked you a few questions. If you're not subscribed to my newsletter, by the way, you might want to do so that you can follow along as I support every week's live based on the newsletter that I wrote the Thursday before. So here we go. Are you in a relationship that has gone awry, meaning that's gone off? There's a loss of connection, a loss of love, a loss of communication, a loss of present awareness. Are you in one of those relationships that seems harder than it ever was before, and you don't know what to do about it? You're kind of lifting up your hands going, okay, I'm done with this, right? That concept of when something goes wrong in a relationship to just walk away. I'm done with this. It's too hard. Are you in that type of relationship? Maybe that you feel like you're sharing your space and time with someone, but you aren't sure why anymore. Like, why am I with this person? You know, you wake up one morning, you've been with someone for some time, and you look at them and you're thinking, why? How did we ever match up? Right? Are you in that type of relationship where you're asking yourself those questions? Great questions, by the way. We're going to respond to them today. And then finally, I asked you a third question in my newsletter, and that was, are you trying to find that special someone, but keep falling short because they never seem to meet your expectations? That's a big question. The questions of expectations, my friends. Do any of you here have any expectations in relationship, to your partners, right? What do you expect of them? How do you expect them to show up? Right? Where are you seeking an ideological way or wishing that they would be a certain different way than they are? So I'm going to leave these questions with you and see if you can identify to any of those. And if you cannot, you can certainly write your question in the comments so that we might discuss it together. And so in her research, Perel talks about how some people have come to view commitment as a loss of self, because we all know that if we're going to be in a relationship, there is a certain level of commitment that comes with it. So she says that some people view commitment as a loss of self. Quote, the idea that we lose ourselves in the presence of our partner due to a heightened sense of individualism. Oh, yes, we have become very individualistic, haven't we? How many of us will say, I can do this, I got this. I don't need a man, I don't need a woman, I don't need a partner, right? I got this. And at the same time, we are so deeply craving this sense of belonging, the sense of connection, of intimacy, which is a completely other YouTube live. Perel shares that, especially in American culture, we look more frequently to our partner to provide the emotional and physical resources that once we sought out or received from a village or community. So when we look back at what we might improve in our relationships, of how we can tweak, this is one of the areas that I think is really important, because we cannot be everything to our partner, right? That's why we have our besties, we have our family, our practitioners, we have therapists that we go to. They're so important because our partners should not be everything to us. That's unrealistic. And yet, that's a big part of the culture. That's the big part of how people are still thinking that I'm with my partner, my husband, he, she, they should be also, the fix-it man, the cook, the amazing lover, the perfect parent, my best ear, so I can share everything with them. So that's a level of expectation that I personally believe is unrealistic, and what I've heard from many of my clients over the years. So Perel continues in her research. She says, when we look around, we can all attest to having built a society of ultra-independent people who seek companionship, but how, for so many, we do not understand the new rules of love because the information is so contradictory. Do you feel contradicted in the way you're thinking in your relationship? Are you able to get any valuable information out there? And certainly there is some. Overall, however, it can be very contradictory. We are being told to get married and to be into these lifelong, I'm giving you my heart and soul, and I'm going to pick you up when you're down, and I'm going to heal you when you're sick, and I'm going to forgive you for your mistakes, and then I'm going to forgive you even more when you make another mistake. And I promise this, right? These are the vows. I promise this. Well, I don't know, but if you've ever been in a relationship, it doesn't quite work out that way. At the beginning, yes, there's kind of this surge of like, I can be everything for this person. And then shortly thereafter, it breaks, it falls out of alignment. For many of us, we're tied up in an image of the other, a social media conundrum of what a relationship could look like, could be like, all based on a fantasy perception that is broiled in untruths. Even worse, now that we have a menu of potential partners to choose from on endless meetup apps, right, on dating apps, we further deepen our confusion by wondering if there might be someone better out there. There might be someone better out there. That conundrum. Am I choosing the right person? Maybe I should swipe left or right one more time and see, can I find someone even better than this one? We're tied up in the virtual ease and quick swiping of potential partners, all the while expecting this image of a person to also fulfill our need for compassion, our need for reassurance, sexual excitement, financial partnership, and even self-worth. And listen to see if any of this resonates with you, right? From a place of honest, loving kindness, right? Because we all do that on some level. We do want to be in partnerships because we want our lives to be more somehow. So we're reaching out for an ideal, but we don't really understand what we're asking for because ultimately, we're disconnected from ourselves and we're disconnected from others. The rules for relationships have changed drastically. And I can tell you in my own 30 years of practice, I have never personally witnessed so many young people, people in their 20s and 30s, unsuccessfully searching for a meaningful connection with another. And I think that has to do with the virtual sphere rather. Fear was a good one too. The virtual sphere. I feel like it's created a litany of options, so many different options, and they tend to set us up for failure because now you can just show up, and if you don't like the person, if it doesn't work on your date, you can basically walk away. You don't have to be polite anymore. There are certain rules of present awareness that are no longer being practiced. And I'll share a few of them from my friends, or excuse me, not my friends so much, but my clients that come in. They'll say to me, these are from dating apps. So they've met this person. They'll say the person was on their phone the entire time. The person was not present at all. Weirdly, they were asking probing questions about my life, like right away, immediately asking all of the big questions. Others have said that the person they met were completely out there, right? Again, not present, not paying attention. Some of them even said that they met people who were very rude. They're unresponsive. They can't make eye contact. They also said to me that a lot of the time they meet these people and they're weird, they're creepy. Some of them just stood up and left without saying a word. So the level of expectation of what we have in terms of these apps and meeting up and going based on what someone has written in their look. Listen, I'm not going to tell you not to be on dating apps. I just find that there are many more problems with them than not. And don't worry, I have an invitation for you to observe and explore a different possibility. Because everything in life that is worth having requires some focus, requires some intention, some conscious awareness to go into that direction. I am looking at questions from Sabi. When you are talking about the meeting app, I can see a parallel with the society of consumerism sometimes. Yes, as if a relationship could be a mere product. Ah, what a great insight, Sabi. Thank you. Yes, that's completely related to our consumerist habits. So we're shopping for a person, I think is what you're saying. You're so right, right? You're just swiping. And you're taking a look and you're reading. Why? Why is it so popular? Why are dating apps so popular? Why do you think? Because it's quick. It's virtually easy. I don't have to go out. I don't have to get dressed. I don't have to put on my face. I don't have to be in a good mood, right? I could just swipe and look. So yes, Sabi, to your point, I completely agree. There's a component of the dating apps that really have to do with a shopping attitude. I'm shopping for someone. And it's not like it's all bad. And I also feel that the disconnection is so great that instead of these apps becoming something that can enhance the quality of our relationships, I feel like they're pulling away from that possibility, that we're being left into a conundrum of so many options and choices where we don't even know what we want. So, okay, if this is true, Anne Marie, well, what's the solution? How can we be in fulfilling partnerships that also help us grow as individuals and learn to manage our expectations of what we think we want? So here's a place to start. We can begin. We can begin by thinking more clearly about our expectations from a partner, to do a check-in. So for example, if you're in a relationship right now, and if you're feeling like the sparkle has gone out, ask yourself honestly, what is my part in this? What is my part in this? And how could I be more present in my conversation with my partner? What is really going on within me that I might not be addressing? Are my expectations toward my partner realistic? After all, I've known that this person is like this, whatever this is for you, for a long time, right? Most of us in relationships, it's not like we don't know. Our partners, our beloveds, our spouses have been the way they have been since pretty much the beginning. And we've known this. And it seems at a certain time, they start to get on our nerves, or we change and we feel the sparkle has diminished. So I'm going to bring the question back to you. What are you doing in the relationship that might have accelerated the dimming of the spark? To take personal responsibility in the relationship, that is a really foundational piece to maintaining our sense of individuality at the same time as we are looking at our partners, our relationship, and how to improve it. So a lot of the time, my friends, we are the ones who are pulling back. It's just too hard. Also, why am I expecting her, him, they to be different now? Why do we expect that our partners are going to be different after we've known that they've been a certain way for so many years? Have any of you ever encountered this? You get to a place where you're expecting your partner to be different after years of them being the same, right? And all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're thinking, gosh, I can't stand the way they or she or he does this. Well, it's a good time to do a personal reflection. I always come back to personal responsibility. And please understand, this talk today is coming from a place of healthy relationships, meaning you are not in an abusive relationships. We're talking about toxic relationships next week. This week, we're talking about relationships overall that tend to be healthy, but that are problematic. Surprise, surprise, right? There's going to be problems in our relationships all the time. That's part of life. But then how do we review ourselves? What is my part in this relationship where we have disconnected or where I've become more critical of my partner? So these are important questions to ask yourself. I go back to Esther Perel's research. She says, research shows that people who have more social resources and more people to talk to about various issues in their lives do better in their relationships. Makes sense. That's why our besties, our families, and our practitioners and friends, right? They are there to support us in ways where our partners should not be supporting us. Our partners can't be everything to us. So I wanted to offer you another way of seeing your relationships. And I know some of you are going to say, oh my goodness, this is unrealistic. It takes too much time. I can't do this. But my friends, the reality is that we're human living, feeling, emotional, diverging. On any given day, we have several emotions that arise. We are in connection with others. We are human beings. We are not robots, right? AI has not taken over everything yet. So I want to invite you back into your human heart, into your humanity. So what about the crazy idea of actually meeting people in person? What? Meeting people in person? What are you talking about? My friends, if you have time to spend an hour, 2 hours of your day swiping, looking for the person on a dating app, I don't want to down all of dating apps, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's a virtual sucking in of what's possible. And what's possible is for you to go out in the world and meet people live in person. And time is not a reason for you not to do this, not if you're truly committed to improving the quality of your life. So, meetups, not dating apps, but meetups, they are in every city in the world. And you can find interesting groups that share activities that you like. And they range from hiking to board game playing, culinary classes, wine tastings, physical activities, of course, running, ski clubs, swimming, horseback riding clubs, bird watchers, exploring different nature reserves, meditation groups, etc., etc., etc. These, of course, will require more effort from you than swiping from left to right. But what I'm inviting you into here is to find ways to live an integrated life using all of your senses: body, mind, spirit, emotions, intuition, to get out there in the world and to take care of your health as you invest time in meeting people in different environments, to get curious, to give yourself the grace to explore activities that you love, or maybe even explore activities that you've never tried before, even more fun. And make your search for friendships an active and conscious decision. And yes, I do believe in making friends first. Get rid of the expectation of meeting the perfect person or the relationship person. Take the pressure off from your unrealistic expectations, right? Just because you saw someone on a dating app that looks a certain way, you meet up with them and they're like, whoa, light years away from how you view life, your interpretation of life. If you take the time to start to create friendships in your life, start at a foundation, because if you're friends, there's so much more space to grow, as opposed to showing up with these expectations of how you want that person to be. And to be patient and to look at this as another possibility to become a fully aligned and curious person. See, mind-body alignment has to do with all of this. You know, building relationships, developing relationships takes time. So I want to invite you to be kind and compassionate with yourself. Take the space and allow for the other person to be who they are, sans your expectations, to meet people where they are at without adding an extra level of expectation based on your ideology, your fantasy of what a relationship can be. To really see the other person without your expectation glasses on. And also, while you do this, as you experiment, I would love for you to come back here to this video, this class, and share with us what you are learning. How are you learning to be with others outside of dating apps? This is really an invitation to go out in the world and to be in physical space with another. Yes, this will require some time. Yes, this will require for you to get dressed and to show up face to face. But you know, when you do that, of course, that is all part of the mind-body alignment perspective. You get a sense of the other person and the chance of you building a friendship when meeting someone that does click is much more likely than if you show up at one of these meetup, well, not meetups, but, you know, from your dating app on these dates with people that you don't know, and then start asking a slew of questions to get to know who they are right away. I would recommend taking a step back, actually, and to not getting to know or asking them probing questions about who they are. Rather, just be in space with them, right? And that has become a difficult thing to experience, because We have a set of questions. Do you match this box? Are you fun? Do you like to ski? What type? Are you vegan, vegetarian, omnivorous? Are you a carnivore? Do you drink? Do you not drink? Do you smoke? Do you not smoke? All of these components we want to know at the first meeting. And what I'm suggesting is, give yourself some grace. Step back a little bit, entertain a friendship, get to know the other person in different social settings, go on friendship dates, allow for some space for this relationship to grow in breadth, so that you might have a chance to see this person in different environments without your expectation glasses on of how you want them to be. Does this make sense? Sabi says, when you express about make friends first. I remember having met an old and happy couple in New York at a restaurant. They felt like new lovers, and they've actually been together for decades. She expressed, marry your best friend. Actually, she encouraged to be friends first, and she looked so happy. Thank you, Sebi. Yeah, there's a lot to be said with actually investing in friendships first. Do you like this person? Do you like this potential person you're going to hang out with? Or do you have the expectation like, okay, this is a good partner because they're ambitious, they're going to help me, build my business, or I can count on them financially. They seem like they like dogs, so that's a good thing, right? Like we're already looking to make all the check marks, where instead, let your heart be open to who they actually are. In the long term, can you see how that might serve you so much better? Because if you're just being with the person as they are and accept them as they are, this is another big component of when we go on dating. When we meet someone to date, we already start to want to know how they're going to support us in the future. How is that going to grow in the future? How might they change in the future? Like already I saw a couple of things that bothered me. Maybe I can help them change that. No, my friends, it doesn't work that way. To develop a healthy, grounded relationship, I truly believe you want to become friends first. Get to know the person. And if there are some things that you don't like about them, that's okay. You don't have to like everything about the person. Yes, of course, the foundational values and outlooks, of course, have to be similar, right? There has to be some similarity. And at the same time, try not to focus on what you want to change about them right away. Allow the space, the grace for it to evolve. And if you are already in a relationship and you're having a hard time with it and you're thinking it might be time to move on, it might be time to move on. But before you do that, I want to encourage you to step back and ask the hard questions of what's your part in this disconnect? What's your part in the relationship where you feel that you might be falling out of love? You may not be in love, or you might not think that you're in love anymore. Can I tell you that is a very, very normal thing that occurs in relationships. We fall out of love with our partners. That hot, in love, crazy attraction that we have at the beginning, over time, if you're lucky enough to be in a relationship over time, will shift. We may not be as sexually active as we were in the beginning. That requires a space of commitment, again, of exploration, of curiosity. Because I will tell you, based on my years as a somatic therapist and in my work, people who leave the relationship because it was so hard, it was so impossible to be in it, or what seemed like an impossibility, never find themselves that much happier or happier at all in a new relationship. It's just a different component. You've learned to not be as expectant a lot of time in a second or third relationship. And so you tend to lean back a little bit. And my invitation to you is, if you have a relationship that you care for, that ultimately you're going through a moment where it's difficult, pause. Don't run away. Ask yourself the question, how might I improve the quality of my interaction with my partner? How might I be better in this relationship? Go back to yourself, because separation, uncoupling, is another life, but it's very, very difficult. It can take a long time for people to recover from uncoupling. Some never recover from uncoupling because they didn't take the time when they were in the relationship to seek the help they needed, therapeutic, body-wise, to go back to self and to put yourself as a priority. Because if you're in a healthy space, the chances are you'll be healthier for your relationship space. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that these insights encourage you to actually become more active in your own love life, in your own search for a partner, for a spouse, for a lover. See if you can start as friends. Make the time to meet people in person. And finally, I wanted to offer you a resource that Esther Perel shared in her research, and it's called Loving Bravely by Alexandra Solomon. So let me just copy paste this in here. This is the name of the book, Loving Bravely by Alexandra Solomon. And she says, Alexandra is the founder of Marriage 101, a course at Northwestern University that teaches undergraduates how to prepare for the types of relationships they want to have. Her book is a wonderfully written insight into the process of developing relational self-awareness, the prerequisite to being in a healthy relationship. So I'm going to ask you the questions she asked her audience. What challenges do you see in modern love? What are your challenges in finding love in your life, in finding a partner? What, based on our class today, could you relate to? What are your biggest challenges that you're seeing, that you're meeting up with in modern love? And the other one is, where are you at in the journey? Where are you at in the journey of finding a partner, a spouse? Where are you at in the journey? And I really would love to hear and both respond to your stories. So if you want to share, you might share in the comments on YouTube. This will be uploaded in a moment, and you can go in there and share your comments and stories about what you're confronted with. How do you see this new modern love, this whole idea with virtual love, with virtual dating? And then where are you at in the journey? And what are some things that you might be seeking for in terms of support that I can answer for you, that we can have a conversation? If you make comments on my YouTube page, I'm going to respond to you and we can have a conversation about it. It's so helpful to have another possibility, a sounding board to discuss things, some things that we don't think about a lot of the time. And so I want to leave you with this, my friends. Relationships, love, partnerships, spouses, whether you're in a relationship or not, all of them require work. All of them require a level of commitment, not just to the relationship itself, but I will say first and foremost to self, to continue to take care of your body, your mind, your emotions, and your spiritual connection, to have your own life, to have your own activities, your own friends, and then to build the relationship from that place of personal, solid foundation, and to look for friends. Look for a friend first and let that evolve into something. Next week, we're going to discuss toxic relationships. We're going to take a deep dive into toxic relationships. What are they? How do we end up in toxic relationships? Why are some of them so hard to get out of? We're going to go and explore all of those questions. And if you are in a toxic relationship, I will be offering you some insights from my own business, my practice, and myself as to how to remove ourselves from them. First, to identify them, because a lot of the time it's not so easy to identify toxic relationships because they can be very close to us. So we're going to go on a deep dive with this next Monday on our live. Please check for my newsletter on Thursday morning. They come out every Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time. If you're not signed up, please sign up for my newsletter from my website, artofalignmentacademy.com. Please interact and comment. I'd really love to hear from you based on this class today. And if you know anyone who would benefit from these topics, from mind-body alignment, who's looking to live a more integrated life, invite them. They can join us every Monday here. They can sign up for my newsletter. We have a fabulous Facebook group at the Duchenne Method, where a bunch of our members are posting every single day on different topics related to mind-body alignment. And this month, of course, we're focusing on love and intimate relationships. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And I will very much look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.